This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Inquiry for our usual Friday night sojourn through the ITV Racing and our three best bets of the week. I'm joined, myself, Andy Richmond, is joined this week by a very august and competent panel of Adam Norman. Good evening, Adam. Fresh from an abortive trip to Market Raisin, which we might be able to talk about a little bit later on. Lee Keys of SystemBet.uk, our glorious leader as usual, but he's allowed me to take the chair this evening. And last, but by never any means least, John Leng from John Joe's Blogspot. Good evening, John.
Laughing all the way to the Leeds, Andy.
Like Arthur Daly was. If we had the interest rate that was shown on that advert, it was about 7%, wasn't it? Up in our hands.
Incredible. Incredible. That. Yeah, 7%. Liquid gold. That was
liquid
gold.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, we'll have to dig that. I think that ad's done the rounds on Twitter a few times, but the 7% interest rate was fantastic. Well, we've got a reasonable weekend racing. I suppose the talking point really is the clash, the Mullins Hendo clash. Is it still on? Just about, I think. No one's bottled it yet. There's still time, and some other reasonable races as well. The Peter Marsh from Haydock, although it certainly ain't the race that probably our august quartet remember it as it was, because I can remember some very decent horses winning this, and I wouldn't put any of today's field in the same basket, shall we say. But shall we crack on, gentlemen? Because I think we've got a limited amount of time this evening. Let's go with our three best bet, the 1 pointer. I think I'll come to Adam first for his 1 pointer on Saturday or Sunday.
Righto, Andy. I'm going straight to Ascot. It's an ITV race that we'll be chatting about a little bit later, so I won't dwell too much. But 220, it's the Mares Grade 2 hurdle, and I'm going to go with Jamie Snowden's Anything for Love. There's three market makers here: Molly Ollie's Wishes, My Sister Sarah from the Mullins Yard, and Western Victory, who is now with Emma Lavelle. I just thought there were enough questions around those three to think that Anything for Love presented quite a bit of value there. And she ran a really good race a couple of weeks ago behind the awesome Martello Sky. She couldn't really win that race, but she was staying on dutifully as she does. Anything for Love over that 2.5 mile trip. She's won over 3. Which is Saturday's trip, and I think she only has to find another maybe £6 or £7 to be right in the mix there. So at much bigger prices than the front three, I'm going to stick a point on Anything for Love.
No, can't say I blame you there. I don't think there's much between the front three and Anything for Love around the 10-1 marker is a sporting 1 pointer. Lee, I'll come to you next for your 1 pointer.
Okie dokie. 145 Ascot. That's the handicap hurdle, the Holloway's handicap hurdle. Very keen on Stella Magic for Philip Hobbs and Michal Nolan. I was very impressed with the comeback run after an enforced absence at Haydock when he was second to Up for Parole. And I was quite sick because I did back Stella Magic that day, and obviously Up for Parole did me on the running, and but I think that form's been franked, because if you actually look at that, it's 6th in the Lanzarote, but it was kind of unlucky in the Lanzarote was Up for Parole in that there was not a lot of pace on. The pace held up very well, And I do think Up for Parole was ridden disadvantageously in the Lanzarote. And let's say if Up for Parole had won the Lanzarote, which I believe if there had been more pace on, he might have done, or certainly have gone very close, then you would not be getting 9-2 about Stella Magic tomorrow at Ascot. So 145, Stella Magic, 8-point win for me, Andy.
Can't say I disagree with you. That Haydock form has also been franked by the winner, the 5th from Haydock, Heart of Steel, who galloped them into the ground round Bangor. So there was another one, and I can't say I disagree with your summation on the Lanzarote. I thought there were some particularly ridiculous rides in that. People sitting there doing absolutely F all,
yeah,
and not being particularly positive, as happened in the 2 big races last weekend, which were basically handed to the winners. So the classic chase at Warwick as well, but people just sat there doing absolutely nothing, no proactivity at all. John, I'm going to come to you for your 1-pointer before I complete the quartet.
You know when countdown's on and you get one of them weaselly little shapes that you take an instant dislike to as well. And like they have the numbers quiz and the other one gets the working right and agrees with Rachel Riley and they get the exact number. And then the weaselly little shape pipes up and says, I did it exactly the same way. And then Anne Robinson says, well, let's have a look at your working then, you weaselly little shite. And he says, my pen broke. And it's a little bit like that with these first 2 selections because young lads have already picked horses that are flagged up in the 2 telly races so far.
Aye.
So, and I'm not
Show your workings, John.
I'm going to say my pen broke.
Well, who's the Weasley little shite, though?
It's me, obviously. I'll get to it. I won't waste any more time on my nonsense. Broomy Law, 6:30 at Wolves. Back from wind surgery last time. 2nd operation. Must be wheezing worse than me, this thing. This owner really shouldn't be rocking along with these types unless they have some kind of future. Sure enough, I thought in the last run that sharpener would have brought him on a bit. I mean, going back in time, he was thought good enough to run in what turned out to be a fairly ordinary Convivial at York. But he's also, I think Kevin Zell has had a bit of an eye on. Can be a little keen going, but I think there'll be enough pace on here to get him to drop it. I'm a little bit concerned at the jockey bulking, but I'm going to run with it. 1-point win.
Okay, Broomy Law, the 6:30 at Wolverhampton. And I'll complete the quartet with one a little, I don't think it's particularly left field. We go to Taunton for the 2:43. We're on the daft times tomorrow. Not that it will make any blind bit of difference because we'll all be running into each other. I thought this is the, we don't get many of these races, the old seniors handicap hurdle. I think you have to be an 8-year-old to run in this, and being a senior citizen myself now, I thought this was quite an apt race. Oakley and Leon Cavallo and Burrows Edge are all towards the head of the market. Oakley's had enough chances over the years. He is quite well handicapped, didn't jump particularly well. Neither does Leon Cavallo. Burrows Edge I can take or leave. And I thought the Russian Doyen, who is incredibly well handicapped now, they've brought him back. If you think he was winning chases off marks of 138 not that long ago, and he's right down in the handicap now. And he ran a decent race last time out. I wouldn't want to go overboard about it, but I thought there was a little bit of perceived value in that race. It was a decent race. He finds himself up a mark of 118 now for the Jeremy Scott yard that are going well. He's 2nd of 8 last time out over fences. They brought him back over hurdles here. 2nd of 8 last time out behind Gallic Geordie, who runs up at Haydock tomorrow. And that was a reasonable run. He got beaten 4 1/4 lengths. That was off a mark of 119, and they've managed to sneak him in here off 118 in a race which he should be okay in. I think you can get around something around the mark of, you should certainly be able to get 11-2 as the bottom end price, and I think there's plenty of 6s around. It's a bit of 13-2. I'll have a point on the Russian Doyen to continue Mr. Scott's reasonable run of late. So that's the 1 pointers. Let's get on a bit more meat on the bones now, and the 2 pointers. Lee, I'll come to you first for your 2 pointer.
Okay. 215 Navan for the old Irish Gypsy Fair for the 2.5 mile 80 to 109 handicap hurdle. I'm with Banks Boy, Gordon Elliott's runner. Owner, eyes are drawn to the owner, Mrs. Anne-Marie McManus. Now it's interesting this because when JP puts them in his missus's colours, they always seem to win a race before JP puts them back in his colours. And I've watched this closely in the handicap. Well, I say handicapping runs. It was sent off 2-1 favourite for its debut at Thurles, and it was obviously expected to, run a big race against an 111 rated runner in the winner, She Soon Sunny. But it was dropped out as if JP said, "No, I'm not having this price." Yeah, it was dropped out at Thurles, which is never a good idea, especially over 2 miles. It was then absolutely not right at all at Fairyhouse. You could see that wandering all over the track in the straight. But then last time out at Navan, in what is going to be a good novice hurdle, on the 18th of December, Ardler, Farmers Lodge, Deploy the Getaway, Harry Alonso, innovated the 5th horse that was just in front of me. My selection, has come and bolted up at Fairyhouse last week, and in a maiden hurdle, and this has been given 108. So, but you know where you stand with good old the McManus family regarding today or not today. So you might want to just turn the stakes down a little bit, but I'm going 2 points win because it's one of those that if this is the D-Day and they say yes with this one. And I notice he's got another horse in the race, trained by Robert Tyner. Mark Walsh takes the ride, but that doesn't mean anything really in JP's terms. And I just think Banks Boy is definitely better than 108. I'm certain of that. It's just whether it's D-Day, but very interesting at 9-1. So that's my 2.2 win selection, sir. Thank you.
Very, very interesting. As I say, that form has been well and truly frank, because that innovated one quite nicely last week. There's nothing really else out the race that's the few of the back markers have come out and run, but nothing that ran in front of Banks Boy has come out and run. So it might be worth watching those others if Banks Boy does the job, as you say, for the BFG. And the green and gold, although it's not in the green and gold, it's in the what's it?
The Gaffer's colours.
Yeah, the red, the checkerboard red colours. Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see there. Adam, I'm going to come to you for your 2 pointer next.
Okay, 345 Haydock. It's Cat Polly. It's a sort of value bet against a lot that are much shorter in the betting. I don't think the opening market is right for this race at all. Cat Polly was a dual winner a couple of seasons ago, had a year off. He's still just turned 7, so I think a year off may have done him good rather than harm. He came back at Wetherby over Christmas and ran down the field in the Castleford, but there was nothing lost in that run. It just looked like a spin out after a break. The race was obviously a useful one. Eclair Dane ran well again today at Lingfield. Cornerstone Lad, who finished behind Catpolly, won at Wetherby. It was a perfectly sound return. He's £4 lower for that, and that was it. He'd also had a wind up and was wearing a tongue tie back on. So I just thought that was a spin out. This race, there's a couple of front runners, Shamanda Burley and Thomas McDonough, who I think could go take each other on. Even if they don't, they'll still go a good lick. I think that will suit Catpolly. As I say, the market's wrong here. 15-2 won't be around mid-morning tomorrow. So that is a stonking 2-pointer for me.
I think there's a bit of 8 with a couple of firms around as well on Cat Polly. I do agree. Yeah, Shamanda Burley went off like a scalded cat last time out.
Yeah. And in with all due respect to him, kept going. There's nothing wrong with that.
It did. Yeah, it was.
And the lad who's riding,
he's quite decent actually.
Harry Lees. Yeah, he's had 2 or 3 winners. So I don't it's not that I don't respect those.
Just from that same race, I know you were at Newcastle earlier in the week. What did you think of Gallic Geordie's run? It was at that meeting you were at, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. No, I've got it's informed horse, looked well. I didn't think the race was run particularly to suit. It was not a dawdle, but he would have preferred to come off a faster gallop, which he'll get. So
I just wondered if the handicapper was starting to get to him.
Yeah, my assessment was that he ran as if the handicapper had got him, frankly. But as I say, if you could eke out another few pounds if the race was run perfectly to suit, which it will be this time. But this is up another grade. And while I respect him, I think this lot are too good. I think Capel is. He's getting weight, so it's a handicap. But it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? And I just think you can back 9-4 Gallic Geordie with me. I'll take the rest. If you want to play it like that. But I'd rather have Cat Polly on my side against all the others.
Cool. Right. Well, we'll leave John till last for this one. I'll have a stab in here. I'm going to be like the Weasley fellow on Countdown. But the pencil's already broken. And I'm certainly not Rachel Riley. I'm going to go with the same as Lee gave for his first his 1 pointer with Stella Magic, because I really can't add to the logic on that. Although I could go a little bit further back. If you go Stella Magic when he won his first 2 races. He did actually run very well at Taunton when he beat the smart Alaphilippe, who I thought ran very well on his comeback run last time out. Hasn't been quite plain sailing since then, but that comeback run, we actually ran a shocker at Warwick. But that fair second at Haydock last month, I think we've already flagged up up for parole rather, ran well. Mackelduff was the third, who I think is an improving handicapper as well. The 5th has won, and I thought Stella Magic would probably have the race run to suit here. The 2 main rivals would be Unexpected Party and Gary Claremont. I wasn't quite sure about Unexpected Party. It was a bit strange at Wetherby last time out, where I thought he tried to throw the race away. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if you were there that day, Adam. Were you?
No, I wasn't, mate. No. I quite fancied the winner there. But I think he was gifted it. I agree. Whether it was an attitude problem, I don't know. I think Harry got there too.
If you watched that race, you just seemed a bit sort of strange. And Gary Claremont always there or thereabouts, but he's got a fair bit of weight on his back. And I thought Stella Magic. I'll play it a little bit safer. I think there's some 4 places around here, so I'll be a bit negative and have a sort of point each way at around 9-2. I think there's 4 places. I can't really see him out of the 4, so it's a little bit of a safe bet. But I do think he'll run pretty well tomorrow. Stella Magic in that 145 at Ascot. So that's 2 stone on his back tomorrow. Stella Magic.
Definitely.
John, I'll come to you for your 2 pointers to complete this round of selections.
Well, this one is also like Lee's last selection in the 2:15 at Navan.
Why have we gone there?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? All this bloody racing, and we end up crossing over on a shit ape like this. But here we go. And it's endlessly. I was with this last time, this ex-David O'Meara yak, and it wasn't really put in the race until they turned in, and he started making ground up quite easily, I thought, oh, we're in here, because it was a big price, it'll be a big price tomorrow. And then I don't think he saw it out, because he did seem to stop rather quickly, and I think dropping back in trip half a mile probably indicates that we're having a bash. The lads come back in and said, well, we were just getting into it, and then his stamina gave way. I kind of have it in my head that this might pop up in a better race off a lower weight, but I'm of the opinion that this horse is in fair fettle at the minute, and I think he'd definitely be overpriced tomorrow. So I'm going endlessly 2 point win.
2 points win at 33 to 1. 33 to 1 is the best price in the village. For those of you who don't want to go 2 points on the nose, there is some fairly advantageous, or I wouldn't say they're advantageous terms. There are some fairly deep each way terms. Their friends at Bet365, Sky Bet. They're all going 6 places. You can certainly get 5 places around the village. And if you've got a Betfred near you, there are 7 places, 1/5 of the odds, 33 to 1 endlessly in the 215 at Navan, which is John's 2-point selection. That completes that particular round. And now we're on to the 3-point naps. And I'm going to kick off. I'll kick off with Lee.
Okay. The 255 at Ascot is the 3-pointer, and I'm absolutely all over this. Palmer's Hill, the John Joe O'Neill runner. This for me is absolutely at the pinnacle of its form, and what I liked last time was the fact that John Joe. This is what they do with a lot of JPs. They come to the second last. He knew he'd won before the second last, and he's thinking, I can't press the button now because if I do, I'm probably going to win by a fence. So he basically just did a bit of knitting and sat, and then I even think it probably surprised him after the last, but the second did tire quite markedly after the last Diego de Charmil. But when he took the lead over the last, he winged the last, and then literally pulled 9 clear on the running, and that was a bit unfortunate because I reckon they probably didn't want to go up £8 in one. I reckon they was hoping to just win a couple of lengths and maybe go up 4 or 5. But nevertheless, it was very, very impressive. I don't think I think the trip brings about more improvement as well, because I think the 2 mile 3 there can be quite favourable towards front runners. So the fact that Palmer's Hill was able to do what he did over 2 mile 3, and he wasn't foot perfect that day either. That's what impressed me even more. A couple of mistakes in there. It certainly wasn't a bet I could make in running, and I do think, although the £8 seems quite harsh on the level, I do think he's meeting horses here that aren't ahead of the handicapper. Fanny and Destraval was put up a very harsh £8 for beating Colorado Doc.
He's probably declared, isn't he, Fanny and Destraval, because they've got him in that big race on Sunday at Lingfield.
Yeah, we might get a curveball with that. Yeah. Night in Dubai, I do feels vulnerable off the bridle. Killer Clown, again, another example of like our handicapper. I mean, you lads put it up when it won at Wincanton, and the problem with that was it beat the wrong horse to go up that amount of weight. It beat Slate House. I mean, Slate House just doesn't win. So I mean, it's again. So we can argue saying, well, Palmer's Hill's got hammered, but so have the rest. And I just think Palmer's Hill, highly progressive at the moment, could have won a lot easier than what he did last time. And 3 to 1 a pleasure for my maximum bet, sir, please.
I think that is good. And of course, that Palmer's Hill form has actually received a boost today with Zaguli winning the 408. They won the last race at Lingfield. Absolutely pissed up in that last race of the season. So there's a little bit of a form boost for you. And I don't think 142. Watching that race last time out when he won that at Howden Handicap Chase, I immediately thought, is this a Kim Muir or even a plate horse for the Fez? Looks an ideal ride for one of JP's amateurs, someone to sort of hunt it round and just bring it there late. But they might have screwed that with the handicap mark now, so maybe they're chasing a little bit bolder tomorrow. I'll stick my 3-pointer in here, and I'm going to go with a horse who I've had problems with these fourth fence fallers this year, remastered. Empire Steel's another one, but I'm going to go back to Empire Steel tomorrow. He hadn't touched a fence when he fell 4 out in the Roland Merrick on Boxing Day. He was going by far the best of that field. In fact, that Roland Merrick hasn't been a bad guide to the Peter Marsh Chase. I think he's already had a run around here, and I do like the jockey change tomorrow. Ryan Manier, who I've got absolutely nothing against, and I think he's one of the better northern jockeys. Brian Hughes is on tomorrow. I do think, well, he's, that's cliche time. He's a champion jockey elect, isn't he? Should have been champion jockey last year by far. That was a bit of a joke last year, in my opinion. He's got Royal Pagaille, who is obviously won this last year, but he's got a little bit more to do this year. Remastered, who cost me a few quid when he capsized in the Hennessy, but I'm going to go 1.5 points each way on Empire Steel tomorrow. I think you can get. I'll just have a quick look. Where are we, Haydock? I think you can even get 4 places in a place. I think you can get a little bit of. I'd probably rather take the 4-1 4 places, a fifth of the odds. Can't really see him being out of the front 4 if he jumps round, to be honest with you. The horse who, off this, I know he's £3 out the handicap, but I do think the yard's in pretty good form as well. Empire Steel, I'll have 1.5 points each way, and hope he can leg over Remastered and Royal Pagaille and gain a decent victory tomorrow. That leaves 2 of us. John, I'm going to come to you now for your 3-pointer.
Thank you, Andy. The 3-pointer is in the 410 at Lingfield, and it's Insomnia. People who know me will know that's quite an apt selection. I think one good reason stands out here, and the fact that it's Marquand on and Turner off compared to last time. But having said that, I think he's shown enough potential to improve on both starts since his layoff, after being thought good enough to run in the Greenham last spring. I know it was any price, but he did look also had a little bit of potential about him. He might not quite have seen the mile out last time, and I think they dropped to 7 won't hurt him at all here. And I think he could be a fair improver for it. Radetzky won well last time, but I think this race looks tougher, and he's up £6. And I can see Insomnia tracking him into this and pouncing late. 3 points win.
Okay, about the 4-1 is very much the general price. Insomnia for John. And Adam, I'll leave you to last this week. 3-pointer. Which way are we going, sir?
Well, you mentioned Insomnia. I think I'm going to have a sleepless night now. I've just seen the opening show on this horse. I'm it's in the 208 at Taunton. I've never been to Taunton. Sounds lovely.
I have. It's not quite a nice course.
Everyone says it's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be even nicer if this one wins. Bourbon Beauty, another mares race. I've got a soft spot for mares. I backed Queen of Hearts today, gorgeous mare. Just got done on the nod, but what an amazing mare she is. But anyway, so Bourbon Beauty. She was brought along steadily by the excellent Alex Hales, who has had a bit of a quiet winter this winter after having a couple of good years since the COVID break. But he's still having the occasional winner, and he produced this horse to win a mare's that good mare's hurdle at Newbury in the last spring. Making all that day off a mark that is just £1 lower than what she's running off tomorrow. And they continued over hurdles this year, and she hasn't really lived up to that off a higher mark. She wasn't fit at Wetherby in October, and she's steadily come to the boil. I don't think she stayed last time at Kempton over 3 miles. She's got plenty of size for fences, and 2 mile 5 and a bit should be perfect round Taunton. I just think she's very she looks uncomplicated. I think she jumps hurdles well in the main. Tends to go prominently. I can just see him bouncing out, riding it prominently, and making every proverbial poster winning one. And I think she's around 7 or 8 to 1, which is twice the price she should be against quite a few horses in there that are not bringing especially good recent form to the party. So, it's going to be a long, sleepless night for me.
17-2, I think, is 3 points on.
It's frankly ridiculous. But
3 points on the nose.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, I do like the shape of the race.
Yeah.
I think if I was in a more defensive mode, it would be a fantastic each way. But it is her first outing over fences, so I'd much prefer to sort of shit or bust on that. So yeah, I like Hales. Harry Bannister is one of those jockeys who it doesn't get much recognition, but I'm always happy to have him on side. Bannister and Hales have got a good record together over fences. Confident back.
You agree with Neverlander, Adam?
Sure.
Neverlander, yes. Neverlander is champions Harry Bannister. He says that Harry Bannister is the most underrated jockey in national hunt racing.
Wow, that's a swinging statement. But I can't remember a ride where I thought, typical Bannister sort of thing, getting one bit. He doesn't get a B on anything he shouldn't win on. You know, just one of those guys that just tips away quietly for these kind of yards and does a professional job.
I'd throw another one into the mix there, similar type, James Best.
Yeah, that kind of guy.
Yeah. Never, unassuming, but when he's on, you never sort of think, I don't want to back that because he's on it.
Yeah.
James Best. Yeah, it always gives a horse a ride. Good horseman. Yeah, I think Bannister and that. Well, that's all the points stuff done. Let's kick on. We've got about 20 minutes to run here. We've got 8 TV races tomorrow. I suppose we'll start at Ascot, the 145, the handicap hurdle. But I think we've had a reasonable crack at this already. Certainly myself and Lee have. Anything you'd want to add, Adam or John?
As I say, I'm the countdown Weasley little shit here, so.
Right. Well, there we go. Kick on, John.
Which race is this? Sorry, Andy.
The 145 at Ascot, Adam.
Right. Yeah. I can't really argue that much. The only thing I would argue about would be is the jockey. I'm not. Speaking of jockeys, I'm not a massive fan of Michael Nolan, but he rode one in the week, which I fancied, and I didn't back it because Nolan was on it, and it went and it was a steering job. So that kind of sort of prejudiced view doesn't always pay, does it? So I was kicking myself for that. But in a big race on a Saturday, I don't particularly want a guy called Nolan, and. It may not be that he's that bad. He just doesn't get many opportunities, does he? Let's face it. He just hasn't filled me with confidence in a few rides in the past, and so that would be a negative for me. I thought that Gary Claremont would be quite a solid favourite up in trip, and I can see John Joe giving him the much quieter ride than he has in the past. Not an easy, not a straightforward horse by any means, and that's why I wouldn't put him up as a bet at a short price, because he has to be delivered.
Actually saw him when he's point to point at a Bangor, Gary Claremont.
Gary, yeah, he's a very useful. I think he's got loads of ability, and I think, he's obviously rated 143, and I think he's worthy of that. He's got plenty of temperament. And, not straightforward. We've spoken about an expected party. I didn't really think there was much else in the race, to be honest, to get too excited about. So I can see why you guys have gone for it.
Yeah, I thought it was the form of last time out. We'll move on to the 220, the Grade 2 Mayor's Hurdle. Obviously, Adam is rowing in with anything for love here. Lee, John, anything that floats your boat in this?
I just thought I like Adam's selection because I do love the mare Anything for Love. I think she's a really, really tough mare. But
topical tip as well with Mr. Meatloaf departing his earth today.
Yes, he's an actual dead ringer now, isn't he?
I thought I'd tee a few of you up.
And
I see somebody say on Twitter that what was it? I'd do anything, but I wouldn't do that. And somebody said, "Well, I've now found out what it is, and that's not back the thing of Henderson's that they got well stuffed at at Lingfield today, whose name I've completely forgotten.
No, on the blind side.
Yeah, on the blind side.
Yeah, no.
I was sort of tying it in with that, which I thought
wasn't that entirely predictable? That thing just disappearing at the back of the telly.
It wasn't. I was on record today as saying at 2.1 it wouldn't be carrying any of my money. Let's put it that way.
Coming back to Anything for Love, like I do like the selection, but I don't like the selection in that I know that she's a soup beast. She absolutely adores. In fact, if you had the deepest ground you could possibly imagine, she would run a career top. And with the drying ground at Ascot, that's the only negative.
I agree, Lee. I switched it from a 2 point to a 1 on that basis, frankly. But I think it's difficult because we're at that stage where the ground's dried up to a bit of a clag, and they were strung out like washing, weren't they, today on the jumps course at Lingfield? It wasn't heavy. Was it? It was. If you handle it, you look brilliant, and if you didn't handle it, you were
sticky, wasn't it?
You were miles out. And it could be this. It could be the same at Haydock, and it could be the same at Ascot.
There's sort of one or two in every race that handled it, and then they were just miles clear, weren't they?
I think it could be more of the same tomorrow. So if But I see
any sort of distance punters out there. I'd always say that if you can get the distance between the second and the third would be the one to play, and not the distance.
Yeah. So Lee, who do you think who's the best of the other three then?
It's. I mean, mares. Mares. You love mares. I try and stay clear of mares because they can tend to disappoint for various reasons.
I like a consistent mare, Lee. I like a consistent mare. Very hard to find. I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
But that's why I like yours because she is a brick wall kind of mare.
Yeah.
I'm
Molly on his wishes. I find her tricky to weigh up because she can be very keen. And I think they did well to place her to win at over 2 miles at Wetherby. And she's sort of flopped since. I just and the other two, I don't know. I just thought they were all worth sort of taking on.
Careful when you're discussing mares. I could feel the producer giving me the death.
We're talking about
She actually turned her head when I said.
That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking, get off this subject quick.
I don't know what you're getting at, lads, because I'm just talking about horses. No idea what you're talking about.
We'll be in trouble. Especially, it's a good job Fry's not on the show as well, because we would be in trouble then. I can tell you that. I think to try and, because we are running a little bit short on time when I get the other races in, I think it's one of those races where Adam's right. There's a bit of value, and there is a sea of blue now on Anything for Love. So if you're gonna grab the tens,
is there a mole in the camp?
You better do. Could well be a mole in the camp. It could have been that mole. Could have been that molehill you kicked. We'll move on. The 255. We already know where we're going with Liam Palmer's Hill. You two boys got anything to add to it? I think I'd probably agree on Palmer's Hill. It's 3-1 is a.
I hate an echo chamber, but I would have to agree. I backed Night in Dubai last time with conviction, and I was perfectly happy with the way things went. Travelled and jumped with plenty of zest. And that was it. And then it just they sort of ghosted past it on the turn in as if it was just sort of not. I still can't work out what's going on. It could be that Palmer's Hill was just that good, and Night in Dubai, as Lee said, is just rubbish off the bridle. But I was a bit it went from sort of hero to zero for me that day, and I'm certainly not going into to recoup losses, on better terms. I think Palmer's is definitely a horse on the up, and you're right about Fanian. That was just harsh, and I think that they've obviously put Lucy Turner up to claim the 7 because they agree, and the rest, I totally agree with the rest. Phoenix Way is as soft as anything, and the rest, not Killer Clown, not today.
Certainly not in the realms of some of the horses who've won this. You history buffs out there, or you people who like delving through your old chasers and hurdlers like I do, you'll remember a few of these names: Henry Kissinger, Ryman, Delius, Blazing Walker, one of my favourite W.A. Stevenson horses. That was, they've all won it. And recent winners have been Surname and Dashel Drasher. I don't think there's anything quite in that quality. John, you got anything to add on this race?
No, I like Lee's horse, in all honesty.
Right, we'll kick on. Well, it's the showdown next, isn't it? The Clarence House, which has had I think it's had a bit of a checkered history, this race. Of course, I don't think you're going to, well, I'm sure somebody should show the probably the most epic encounter that I can remember in this race, which is Desert Orchid and Panto Prince. That was probably one of the most epic encounters, although the recent roll of honours includes Masterminded twice, Sprinter Sacra, Sire de Grugy, Underso 3 times, and Altior. Tomorrow, what do you want, boys? Would you get involved, or is it just a race to watch?
I'm taking on Shishkin because, like, Blogger will be all over it. And
yes, I knew he'd get a mention somewhere. It's been rather I haven't seen anything from the Blogger lately.
And that's got to have a big, actual over-expected scenario in profits. I mean, that's the first reason. Second reason is it's amazing for a horse that's 10 from 11 under rules, where you can pick a hole in nearly every piece of form it's got. I mean, I still keep saying it. The Kempton run last time, everyone was raving about. It was barely quicker than Edwardstone that had took half the birch with it all the way around in the novice. So, and I'm not saying that Shishkin isn't the real deal. It might be, but I listen, I'm the one that keeps laying it every run, and I'm the one that keeps paying out. But
one day. Is this the day?
One day.
We're millionaires.
I'm hoping this is the day. And do you know
I've
what?
never even heard of what's the other one called? Energumene or something.
Energumene.
Never heard of it.
Well, these Irish. I mean,
I've never watched an Irish race in 3-4 years.
I mean, to be honest, what I'll actually probably do is back First Flow a little bit at 12s and probably have a little bit in running on First Flow at 40s after he smashed through about 3 fences, like he did in the Peterborough. I mean, that was incredibly impressive to do what he did in the Peterborough. He's wore the birch on his chest. He's still given weight to a very good horse. But by the way, he's given £6 to a horse that ran Shishkin to 3 lengths at Aintree in the Mildmay. So let's all talk form book here. We can all say Shishkin, the real deal, Blogger, Stallion, lining up. But First Flow at 12-1. I'm sorry, that's a wrong price.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I did think that the price disparity between Shishkin and even Energumene was a little bit on the. They were further apart than I would have had them. But
yeah,
that's it. I'm going to be a watcher. John,
is he just going to bomb out and try and make all Dave Bass? Would that be the plan?
Yeah, I reckon.
Because he was because the Peterborough was a new trip, wasn't it, for him?
Yeah, the kind of experiment and. I mean, Kim Bailey said he's just an absolute beast of a rogue beast of a horse in that he can just make 3 or 4 mistakes in a race and still record ridiculous ratings and figures.
I thought he was an absolute mudlark, that Lee at First Flow, and then that Huntingdon ground was pretty lively.
It's pretty good ground, and the thing is, the second horse, like I said, had to have run its race in that Peterborough Chase for me because it did a lot right. And as I said, it was very impressive First Flow that day, and that's where my money is at 12s. You can't go 12s because there's literally. These two that are matched up and sort of overhyped. Well, Shishkin in particular is overhyped. I mean, that's the reason.
All right. Well, we'll move on. We'll move on because time is running short. We go to Haydock next. Another blogger favourite, John Bon, who's in this the Grade 2 hurdle. Again, another short price. Another one you're taking on, Lee?
Yeah, I won't be taking it on. There's a good offer on Ciderate Gin, which is it's £28 a bottle at the moment online. Anyone wants a DM, mate? It's my favourite gin. It's his different class, normally 38 a bottle. And so if anyone wants a bit of that tomorrow, that's what I'll be doing during the 125 ahead.
We're going your sponsor.
Ciderate is yeah, they won't. I've asked Tiger Gin. I've asked them all. They won't do it.
No. Oh,
Are you taking the Tony Calvin angle and drinking bottles of gin during racing these days?
Well, it kills COVID. I mean, the higher the percentage, it kills COVID.
Love it. Yeah, I must say I share your ambivalence towards a race like this. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how easily he deals with My Eye, who Constitution Hill ran all over at Sandown last time out by 14 lengths. He might actually get a little bit closer. I'll give you a line to those, but again, I'm rather ambivalent about the race, and probably about the next there as well, the 2 o'clock at Haydock, which probably looks as though it'll go the way of Tommy's Oscar, who probably one of the most improved horses in the north.
John's horse, this. John, what do you think is Tommy's Oscar tomorrow? Are you lumping?
I'm not, no. Anybody looking at my tipping record over the last 3 months will know I'm in no position to lump anything.
There's your treble, John. John Bond, Tommy's Oscar, and Shishkin tomorrow. Blogger treble.
Thank you, but no, I'm actually hoping Shishkin gets beat, and then it'll have the blogger shit myself over his honeysuckle and Allaho Trixie, won't it?
I was hoping to see you with a selfie stick parading round Middlesbrough, hopefully by the Transporter Bridge, espousing the delights of the Tommy's Oscar, Shishkin, and John Bond treble.
I'll take a photo of the Palmo if that goes in, and ask people to rate it out of 12.
You can't beat a chicken parma. Brilliant. Chicken parmas.
Pork parmesan. You can't have the chicken. It's no good. The original and best pork parmesan.
Adam, any views on this particular race, Tommy's Oscar?
I've got a very unscientific view in that the Hamiltons are brilliant, have been brilliant, blah, blah, blah. We know about that. But once people get splashed all over the TV, the papers, I think wasn't there a big article on them?
Yeah, there was a feature on them this week.
You know, it's like when a FTSE 100 company builds a massive new headquarters. They've reached the highest price they're going to reach for the next sort of 10 years. It's almost like we've reached peak Hamilton.
Yeah.
And things can only sort of go downhill from here, sort of thing. I hope not, because Ian's a brilliant character, and clearly they know what they're doing. But and there's no real reason why Tommy's Oscar shouldn't win, other than that he's been kept very busy, and they do keep their horses busy, don't they?
Yeah, that's well, and horses.
But they do seem to just keep bouncing. What can get it beat? He's got a.
Well, Hunter's Call's going to sit in. I suppose. Navajo Pass won this last year. I mean,
yeah, but he's just done nothing. Yeah, he's looked around here. Since the race will be set up by Global Citizen, so there's the pace. Tommy's Oscars, can be keen going, but stays a bit further. Would it be tacky ground that sort of undoes the short price ones? I just don't know. It's not my way of betting, but it'd be great to see him win again.
Yeah, I'd rather sit and watch and be pleased if it won.
Yeah, totally.
You're pleased. There are certain people you like to see win, whether you're financially involved or not, and the Hamiltons are certainly a pairing that I always take pleasure in seeing them win. That brings us on to the Peter Marsh. Certainly, as I say, not the race that probably I remember, or probably some of us remember, actually, because there's been some absolutely super horses winning this. I've already played in this, obviously, with Empire Steel. Boys, any views on this?
just some nice stats for the old brigade amongst us, and we're all old, and especially our listeners are all old. Well, Adam isn't. Adam's like a real fit youngling, but yeah, but we're really old. And I'm gonna bring some memories here. That Venetia's won it 3 times. General Wolf in 1999, the Outlier in 2007, and obviously won it last year with Royal Pagaille. Now, the thing with this is the mark of Royal Pagaille, which is 163. The only 2 horses that have ever done this, right, happen to be 2 legends. And one is Andy's old favourite, Jadami, who won this race in 1997 off a mark of 169. 169!
Remember it well.
Like a Phil Taylor average. And plenty have attempted to win this from a mark of 160 plus. Kingscliff couldn't do it. Earth Summit, the Grand National winner, couldn't do it. The Thinker was beaten in this off 165 in 1989. So, can Royal Pagaille join the likes of Jadami and, wait for it, drumroll, Twin Oaks was the only other one. Twin Oaks, the standing dish at Haydock, was the only other horse to do it from a mark of 160 plus in the Peter Marsh. Now, the ground is the key for Royal Pagaille. I think this, even though it's a big weight, Royal Pagaille is a beast on the soup. So I'm going to keep an eye on the times early on in the day, because I think if the times are really slow and tacky and slow, Royal Pagaille's chances increase all the time to join the legends, Jadami and Twin Oaks.
Adam, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, interesting stats. I thought that the race tomorrow is a better race than it won last year. Off what would it be, a £7 lower mark?
Yep.
Nothing much came out. I know it won in a hack canter, but it just beat pretty much, very average types, Potter's Legend and Just Your Type, and Creve Hill. And I thought this race had more depth and more interest. Horses like Sam Brown, I thought was overpriced. I nearly put him up just as a shot, a bit of a left field one. Could be anything still. I know he's 10, but Anthony Honey. I think, and speaking of underrated jockeys, Anthony Honeyball doesn't seem to get the recognition. Does he get recognition? I don't really read much, but he's constantly banging in winners, Anthony Honeyball. So I thought he was interesting. I thought there was quite a few interesting. I thought I get the Empire Steel thing. I'm not entirely convinced that he was all over the winner. You could be right, Andy, that he was probably going to win it, but it was just a bit far out for me to sort of make that judgment. And I thought that his previous form was just okay. I like him physically. He does actually look like a proper good horse, proper good horse. I just think he's got a bit more to prove than the sort of 72-4-1 suggests. So I would prefer to go with Lord du Mesnil, who actually did nearly win the race at Wetherby. Came back to form, was beat a couple of lengths, and he's got tons of form here. I think he'll run his race at a decent price. And Sam Brown I thought was interesting as well. The rest didn't really appeal, to be honest. But Royal Pagaille, I'm just taking on because it's 5-2 and it's a big weight and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think so. John, any views on this?
Yeah, I think Empire Steel will win it, but I can't see him having a bet at the price. I want a little bit bigger price than that, I think. Yeah,
it was. I felt like to put it in because I think, as we discussed before we came in here, it was a bit of a thin weekend again. I just thought, Andy, that the assumption that it would have won at Wetherby has been priced in. I don't think that's probably, yeah. You know what I mean? It actually was a bigger price when I did all the notes this afternoon. Yeah, no, I get that. I get it. Then it got blued on Odds Checker, which obviously often happens. people.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that could be sort of 5-1 on the show. I think it's a more competitive race.
Yeah.
Than the
It's
current
one of
horse.
those horses that I sort of quite like the horse, so maybe a bit of heart over head there. And just one race at Taunton tomorrow, the 3:15, the ioWaveGo benefit race, the Portman Cup Chase. Won this the last 2 years as favourite, sure to go off favourite again. I'm sure he's going to be out in front. Any chance of him getting turned over, boys?
No, I think Robbie Dunn will be turning off for this race. I think that's where Robbie Dunn turns over and
shit film on Channel 4 ITV.
Yeah, there'd be something like like The Great Escape or something for Robbie Dunn, just as a 350.
Bryony jumps off eulogising over the best buddy ioWaveGo.
Yeah, so that's my take. It's all Bryony.
I suppose fullback would have a chance. He's getting an awful lot of weight, but I mean, it's not. It's not probably. It's one of those races, and there's plenty of them tomorrow where I'd rather sit and watch and enjoy rather than get.
Help and let the dog in.
Or let the dog in. Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be letting the.
Come on, Digby.
Unfortunately, I won't be letting the cat in this week because we lost our old cat this week, 20 years old. So
terrible,
it's the cat Memorial Edition. Unfortunately, the cat passed away this week, age 20. Had a good knock, but won't be starring on the Bar Stewards podcast anymore. Well,
you need to back Cat Polly tomorrow, Andy.
Yeah, I think we can.
Cat Polly, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, Cat Polly. I might well have a couple of quid on her for the cat tomorrow. Well, thank you, lads, for your input this evening. I'm sure everyone will have enjoyed that, whether you're pushing the blue or the pink buttons this week. Best of luck with all your punting. My thanks to my panel this evening, Lee, John, and Adam. And all just remains to say that those three gentlemen will be back on Sunday with the Sunday sermon, where I'm sure we'll be hearing all about Adam's abortive trip to Market Raising, kicking molehills, some shenanigans at the National Stud, and all the other goings on in the racing world this weekend. Thank you very much for listening to the Bar Stewards Inquiry, and it's good night for today, and good luck with your bets this weekend. Goodbye.
Right, the show's over, boys. Thank you very much.